with us tonight. How did Jerry Sandusky react to these verdicts? I mean, we were told about his visual reaction. Did he say anything to you? Did you have words for him?
Listen, we talked about it. We knew that whatever the jury's verdict was, we had to honor it. Jerry rose. I saw some tears in his eyes. But he's always honored the court process. He's always been a law-abiding citizen of the community, except for these allegations. And he'll continue to be. And as a sign of respect, he was allowed to walk out of the court without handcuffs. And I think that's an important sign to show that Jerry Sandusky can be trusted to go along with the process in our democratic system. And that will include an appeal of the various issues we have identified and will continue to identify.
Well, he was placed in handcuffs, though, as he left the building, because we've just seen pictures of him in handcuffs as he being placed into the police car.
Well, Anderson, absolutely. That's right. A protocol, so because anytime a person's transported, they have to be.
In terms of what happens now, I mean, are there, in your opinion, grounds for an appeal on any level? What do you expect from sentencing?
Listen, I can get 5 continuances for a speeding ticket, but Joe Amendola and I were not able to get 1 continuance for Jerry Sandusky. That's going to be one of the major issues in the case. The judge was very fair to us on many levels, but there were a lot of unique legal issues where he made rulings that could be overturned, not because they were per se wrong, but because the law in the area was so unclear.
What do you mean the law was unclear?
Well, I'll give you an example. Accuser number 8, the janitor. The government was allowed to go forward with that on a hearsay statement alone, and there's a constitutional issue under Idaho versus Wright and Commonwealth versus Barnes, which is a Pennsylvania case, that are substantial constitutional questions, and the court acknowledged that during oral argument. And while the court went against us, the Commonwealth's risk is that if we get accuser number 8 overturned on appeal, the entire case could come back because you can't sort out beyond a reasonable doubt whether that affected the jury's deliberations on any other accusers. So this could, the entire case, all the convictions could come back on that ruling alone.
At any point, did you try to enter into plea negotiations with prosecution? Did you have to have that discussion at all with Jerry Sandusky?
Well, there's always plea negotiations and plea discussions in cases, but whether they're real or meaningful, in this case, there was never a meaningful plea offered, so it's not even worth discussing.
Does Jerry Sandusky still believe or still say that he is innocent?
Well, Jerry Sandusky understands that the jury's verdict means that he's been found guilty. But Jerry Sandusky will tell you that he didn't do what was alleged, and that's why he's going to appeal.
And in terms of the new allegations being made now by Matt Sandusky, what do you make of that?
Well, I can't go into all the details for one reason in particular, which has to do with grand jury secrecy. But I will say that we are not confident that Matt would have been as good a witness as some people have suggested. And the fact that he was known to the Commonwealth during their case in chief and they chose not to call him should tell you something.
I know our Jeff Toobin, legal analyst, is also here with me. If it's okay with you, I know he'd like to ask you a question or two. Jeff, do you have a question for Karl?
Sure.
Well, what's your top issue on appeal? You really think someone convicted of 45 counts of child molestation is going to get a conviction overturned because you didn't get a delay in the trial? I mean, you know,
that is not going to be a delay in the trial. No, we didn't get a delay in the trial. We couldn't get a single continuance. I am not exaggerating when I say we do typical DUIs and we get a 6 months to 8 months to a year from the time of charging in Pennsylvania. We have a serious case like this. We literally get thousands of pages of discovery days before trial. We were still reading material that we'd never seen while the trial was starting. Now, we found the tape that shows that the police led the witnesses. If we'd had more time to build our case, this jury would have seen things a lot differently. Is that a great appellate issue? No, because appellate courts don't always go that way. But it will flavor all our other issues.
What would they have seen differently if you got 6 more months?
If we had 6 more months, we would uncover a lot more of what happened in terms of the leading questions. Remember, we had the tape recording that no one knew about because the government gave it to us but didn't realize that they had recorded them leading their own witnesses.
What do you think the most effective? What do you think the most?
These are very minor issues. There's no allegation that these were invented allegations, were there? There's no allegation that police coached them to lie. Leading questions, that's completely conventional police examination, is it not?
No, you obviously weren't at the trial, sir, to hear the tape played where they went off tape, told the person that what details other accusers had gave, said, give us graphic descriptions, then said, we're turning the tape back on. If you'd heard that at the trial, you'd understand my position.
What do you think was the most effective in terms of the testimony by the prosecution, the evidence that the prosecution presented?
Well,
was it the 8 accusers?
It's the death by 1,000 cuts combined with McQuarrie's testimony and the spurious janitor we can't cross-examine hearsay testimony, which is one of the problems in this case, because I think that was problematic for the jury. But we can't cross-examine the guy. Interestingly, I think if you went and asked the incompetent person, he would tell you he doesn't remember it being Jerry Sandusky, but unfortunately, he's not competent, so we can't bring him to the stand to refute his own hearsay statement brought in by somebody else who never reported it up until now.
Well, Karl Rominger, I appreciate you being on, Jerry Sandusky Co-Counsel. Thank you very much for being with us. Mark Geragos, as a defense attorney, you just heard defense attorney as well. What do you make of what he said? I mean, clearly Jeff Toobin